am so sick of the world telling us women that we can be presidents, CEOs, and in high-power positions just like the men can.
In today's video, we're going to debunk the myths of traditional relationships, why they're bad for men and women, and if I'm a provider or a dusty.
See, this is where it all starts. A man gifts you a household appliance and all of a sudden you're a trad wife, and it's just downhill from there.
Though maybe you should shut the up and sit the down because, you know, you're not feminist, so maybe you should let the men do the talking.
Hello fellow travelers and welcome to the Hard Light Network. Today's video is going to serve as a follow-up to my previous video on the trad wives of TikTok. Whereas the last video was more of a reaction, this video is going to be a bit of a response. Today's video is going to be a lot shorter than my previous one. I'm not going to be talking about a bunch of clips or responding to anyone else's video in particular. I'm really just going to be talking about my personal experience and why I prefer the trad lifestyle. Just a fair heads up, guys, there's no two ways around it. This video is going to be kind of sappy. I'm going to be talking about emotions, and I'm also going to talk about my religion a little bit. But the purpose of this video isn't to teach or persuade in the slightest. I honestly just want to share some of my life and perspective with you guys. Feel free to disagree with me, but my goal isn't to have an argument. I just want to show you guys what I'm about. First, I think it's important to define terms because it seems like everybody has slightly different definitions of what they mean when they say trad. Of course, I agree with the superficial elements of the term, with the role of man being as protector and provider, and the role of woman being as teacher and nurturer. However, and rather unfortunately, when I see these types of discussions taking place, particularly online, I see that it quickly gives way to talks about the perks and drawbacks of being a husband or being a wife. These conversations never talk about the affection that a husband and wife share on their wedding day, the care that they have for one another when they're sick, the passion of their honeymoon evening, or the love that causes them to bring a life into the world. What I'm really asking here is, where's the romance in these discussions? At this point, the problem seems so common that people are more likely to say you're lucky for finding a husband or a wife that really loves you and cherishes you, but it has nothing to do with luck at all. One of the points from Funky's video that I didn't talk about was how much work relationships can be. It feels like a bit of a cop-out to point at bad relationships and say, look, marriage has failed. When I look around and see failed marriages, I don't see an epidemic of bad luck. When I see failed marriages, I see absent or cheating partners. I see lies told. I see secrets kept. I see substance abuse, and yes, unfortunately, I see physical and emotional abuse as well. When it comes down to it, I see people failing to put the work necessary into the relationship to make it succeed in the first place. But I don't think that the problem lies in the institution of marriage itself, but rather in the people. The best point that Funky made in their video was probably about how trad wife influencers are selling a glamorized veneer of the trad lifestyle. And I can honestly agree with that. All influencers sell an idealized version of their product. And as a YouTuber with over 2 million subscribers, I think Funky is keenly aware of that. However, there's also nothing dishonest or fake about these trad wives refusing to air out their dirty laundry on social media. And honestly, if Funky was posting every awkward and bad moment that they've had with their boyfriend online, then their relationship probably wouldn't last that long. Believe it or not, it's probably a good idea to keep most of your life private from your millions of followers. Because at the end of the day, most people's problems, even celebrities online, just aren't any of your business. To an extent, of course, because obviously when it crosses the boundaries into abuse, it becomes a criminal offense and it needs to be dealt with. That being said, there's nothing about perpetrating abuse against your partner that is conducive with the traditional lifestyle. Part of the husband's duties are to protect his wife, and if he becomes the biggest threat to her, then he's already failed at that. Which again is to say nothing of the love that you're supposed to have for this person. If you guys will indulge me a minute to talk about my marriage, my wife and I are middle school sweethearts. We of course met each other when we were both very young, and we shared the same social circles growing up. Of course, we also grew up in the same town, so we had the same environment. We started living together and got married in our early 20s, but now, by our mid-20s, we have 3 beautiful children and another baby on the way. She's a full-time stay-at-home mom, and I'm the breadwinner for the household. But it's so much more than that, because honestly, I don't think our relationship could survive if I was just paying the bills and she was just cleaning the carpets. Every day, she packs my lunch and puts a handwritten note in there to keep my spirits up while I'm at work. I'll randomly surprise her with flowers or sweet treats, not just on special occasions, but randomly on a Tuesday. We still write letters to each other, and those intimate moments do a lot to drown out the day-to-day troubles that we face. But apart from these small gestures, we actually express our gratitude for one another and the work that we do. And yes, it's true that my wife does all of the household chores, but if I see that she's falling behind or struggling, I'll do the dishes for her. And if I see that she's getting really overwhelmed, then I'll take over completely and let her go rest. Because for me, being a man is more than just not doing chores because I don't have to. It's taking care of my wife when she needs it. And if that means I need to change a few diapers, make the bed, or sweep the floor, then I'm perfectly fine doing that, knowing that my wife is taken care of. And it also carries over to an important lesson for my children, because I want them to see what it's like to be in a marriage, what it's like for a man to care for a woman, and what it's like for a woman to be cared for by a man. And yeah, it's not all going to be glamorous. They're going to see the ups and they're going to see the downs. But most importantly, when they see the downsides, they're going to see that there's always a solution to whatever problem that we might be going through. I don't know, guys. I grew up on stories of knights slaying dragons for the princess. And it wasn't just the confidence in his abilities, it was the confidence that the woman placed in him that gave him the strength to overcome such a deadly challenge. And it wasn't just some feat for him to achieve or some bloody trophy for him to drag back in order to barter for this woman, but it was a service that really made the lives of the people in the village better. It made him admirable and capable instead of just him being good at doing violence. I get that these are just my personal experiences, but I don't think that the solutions to the problems facing marriages is simply to redefine what marriage is. And likewise, I don't think changing our definition of father, mother, husband, wife, man, and woman is going to address the core problems that we're facing. And while it might provide some people a temporary sense of relief, it's not going to stop people from lying or cheating or abusing each other. Because honestly, if we want things to start getting better, we have to start being better. Like I said at the end of my last video, I think it's time that we start living up to the expectations that we put on other people. Before I wrap up this video, I want to leave you guys with one final point. Many of these pro-feminist, anti-trad wife videos have pointed to this woman as an example of a trad wife influencer. Her name is St. Williams, and on YouTube she has 64,000 subscribers, but on TikTok she's just shy of 200,000 followers. Throughout videos like the one that Funky Frogbait posted, this woman is used as an example of women who dangerously propagandize young girls into becoming housewives. They bring up points like social pressures influencing women's decisions. They mention how the trad lifestyle can disrupt getting an education or work experience. And of course, they mention how being a trad wife makes women vulnerable to abuse. And of course, after watching Miss Williams' videos, it's pretty easy to see that these ideologically driven feminists either didn't watch the videos themselves, or they simply lied about their content.
How to become a traditional wife. Number 1, embracing ultra-traditional gender roles into your marriage. The man, he is the provider, the main breadwinner. He goes out of the house and works. The woman, the wife, she is the homemaker. She takes care of the home. She takes care of herself, and she does the cooking and the cleaning. Number 2, and I cannot stress this enough, you have to marry the right man. If you marry a guy who in your dating life, he showed abusive and control tendencies, this is a disaster waiting to happen, because when you become financially dependent on this man, he will abuse all of that. So make sure that you take your dating life very seriously. If you are not dating to eventually marry that person, you're wasting your time. So one of the most common questions I get asked is my advice to high school girls who want to be traditional wives in the future. So first of all, you may or may not be super supported in this idea, and that is okay. Coming from me, I was not super supported in my decision to drop out of college and become a traditional wife, but I will tell you this, your family members and your friends usually come around, and if they don't, that's okay. You are supposed to be happy in life, and being happy is going to look different for everybody. To go to college or not is a personal decision, so think wisely about what you really want to do. Don't feel pressure to go to college. Don't feel pressured not to go to college. It's okay to take a gap year, take a step back. You just graduated high school. You've probably been in public school your entire life since you were 5. And it's okay to just take a breather and figure out what you want to do. If you would like to, get a part-time job. This is so much fun to experiment. And usually these part-time jobs are nothing super serious. They're just to get you out in the world, in the working world, and give you some experience, especially like customer service experience. Again, I worked at a supplement store and I was homeschooled for high school, so I became really shy and introverted. And I think getting into that supplement store and learning customer service skills and learning how to speak to people and help people really helped me, because in the beginning, it was hard. Like, I would just laugh awkwardly when I didn't know what to do. And I think the longer I worked at that store, the better I became at communicating with people.
So there you have it, guys. Straight from the trad wife's mouth. They're so busy trying to manage people's perceptions of these housewives that they end up becoming massive hypocrites. In order to frame them as victims, they end up talking over and condescending to these women, just like they say that the men do. They really are just shameless manipulation tactics aimed at emotionally and ideologically activating their audience. They know the average person is not going to go check their sources and call them out on their bullcrap, so they feel emboldened to lie about these women who choose the trad lifestyle. But that's where I'm going to end this video, guys. I appreciate all of you for watching. Like I said, today's video was just me giving more of my personal take on this topic. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys, safe travels.